What's going on, guys? I just wanted to take a look at and show some ideas here that I have on AMC. So, I made videos on AMC a while back, and we played small breakout. Where were we? We played a small breakout of a potential ascending wedge, which ended up failing. We tapped this resistance, and that's where we found this potential, which I kind of have it in as like a long-term resistance, basically. From this peak, this first touch here, this second touch here, and then same with the support. We have our support marks down here, and then I was looking for a touch down here at 32, but we had that one big, kind of like, almost like a dead cat bounce, but from here up. And what I ended up doing was I extended what I originally had as the first initial wedge here that I posted on my TradingView about this breaking out soon, and then we ended up having this huge breakout. So I added my position here, and then I actually got some down here as well the first time, which I kind of maybe should have saved it, because obviously that was a very strong low, and we haven't actually came back and made a lower low or anything close to it. So I mean, this would have been a great spot to stay long, but I ended up selling it, taking a lot of profits up in this range here. And in the video I was talking about how that $52 range could actually come in as some resistance based off of some of this wick action here, and that's exactly what ended up happening here. So although I was looking for us to potentially come up to this 56.70, I was being very cautious up in that range. But anyway, you can rewatch that video if you guys want. It's really out of the question now. But and then we ended up breaking this support here that we had, perfect support. We lost that, and we just continued all the way down. And I made a quick post on TradingView during this time talking about if we rip through this 38.56, we could come up as high as that 41.74, but if we lost this support here and we couldn't maintain it, then it was most likely just kind of a dead cat bounce or something of the sort. However, since then, we really haven't came back down and tested this support again here. And what we're actually doing is we're starting to round up a hair. So, this is something that I am keeping my eye on as far as we could be getting ready to break out here. We still would need to clear this same $38 to $39 range, but we can go down to some smaller time frames, look at some fib retracements, and check out what's actually going down here as we take a look. So the first thing that I'm looking at is this could be a nice double bottom here that could potentially bring us up to potentially test this 41.74 again, which could reject. And if it did reject, we would definitely want to see us maintain this support. Like, this is the biggest area that I'm watching, is that 38.56 roughly. If you were looking to get a smaller position, I mean, we can take a look at some negative things as well. I mean, looking at this RSI here, one thing that I am looking, and I just posted about AMC on my TradingView just a second ago, but one thing that we do have to keep our eyes on is, although this could look like a nice W and it could break to the upside, it also could look like a potential head and shoulders, which obviously more like this, but depending on if it decides to get rejected here. So I mean, one way to find out if it's a clear breakout or not would actually just be as easy as doing something like this. So if we do that, we can see what this could look like, which actually kind of looks like a potential rising, could be a potential rising wedge, which obviously, if that was the case, we would be roughly around that resistance right now, and that might make us come down here. And if we caught support on this potential trend line, hard to draw right now, but on this potential trend line there, then we would obviously be potentially looking for a bounce or a breakdown, which could drop us a lot lower. Really depends on how that plays out. We could look at the hourly, which in that case, then you'd have to change your trend line, and you'd have to do something like that as well. So I mean, that's just something else to keep our eyes on. there, which actually it looks more like a somewhat of a symmetrical triangle, which might end up being a little bit bigger, which would take a little more consolidation, and we'd be close to resistance right here. So then we could drop for one more low before a takeoff. That looks pretty nice on the 1 hour. So that's just something I'm looking at right there. Let's see. And we can see here, if we zoom in on the 1 hour, we can kind of tell. I'm going to get rid of that target. We can kind of see what we had going on here. It was like a small potential descending wedge, and we actually just broke out of it just towards the end of closing here. So that area is right around 37.57, and then we have our support at roughly 37.37 to 37.45. So I mean, that would be something to watch for support. But we can see on the 15-minute that clear breakout. But just because it's on the 15-minute time frame, usually that's not that reliable. So you know, we do want to watch this previous high right here, and if we do actually manage to pop above this 38, we might get a pretty clear 50-cent run right there, which isn't too bad of a risk to reward ratio. We might get some pretty good momentum, and then it might end up looking something like a nice little small bull flag here, but just something to think about here. But if it was a little bull flag, you'd get a little target here of $40 even, actually. So, you know, I mean, we can go and look at some indicators and check some fib retracement levels and stuff like that, just to see what's potentially going on. I mean, in something like this, I'd probably start my fibs from this peak right here, pull it down to this low right here, which I think was that. Let me just double check on that low. $28.83 was the low. So I kind of want to make sure that this is on the exact low so we don't screw ourselves with our targets. $28.83 roughly. If I had the magnet on, it'd be a little easier. But so yeah, my video got cut off a little bit because somebody gave me a call in between. But anyway, so we have the fib retracement set up here, so then we get to see what's going on. So you can see the 0.382 is actually at 37.92, which is exactly where we're roughly closing and getting a little bit of resistance from. So what we want to see is we want to see ourselves get confirmed support above that 37.92, and then we can see our next fib retracement level is actually 40.75. And then we have to just keep in mind that this 38, 50, 58 area has been a little bit of resistance, because, you know, right here we had a triple top right there, and then we know that when we played this original area here, this 38.75 was, I mean 38.58 was resistance 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and when we broke it, we had a very nice rip all the way up to 48. Back tested it roughly without coming completely to it, and then we kind of just trended on this uptrend here, which ended up being more of a, well, I mean, it was pretty much a ascending wedge or symmetrical triangle, but either way, then we had that breakout, then we tried to back test it and we lost the support. We came back up, turned it into resistance, and we dropped. And then same here, we tried to hold it as support, we rolled over, we lost it, came up, couldn't hold it as support, lost it. So really the biggest thing for me is just getting back above that 38.58. Even if that was a very nice pull, even if this was a very nice pull, rejected at the $40 range, came back down, held it as support, that would be the way to make the play. And then if we were to come all the way up potentially to this resistance, this downwards resistance is around 44.58. So overall, that's kind of what I'm looking at. If we were to lose this area, you know, we have some potential support at 35.73 and 34.42 to keep our eyes on. But other than that, that's what I'm watching for. I hope this helps. Got to cut this short. Peace.